What's happening, everybody? Mandalorian Chapter 4 is out. We're here to talk about it. I know this looks much different than usual. We're away for Thanksgiving. Robbie's flexing with his setup, though, as you can tell.
I'm flexing all over the place. Look at this. I even had a little Yoda waiting in my
look
room.
at that.
That's no baby Yoda.
Yeah.
It's tough. I could show my Star Wars toys. I'm not at home, though. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. But guess what? Who cares? Black Friday. It's here. Who cares about that? It's Mandalorian Chapter 4 day. We watched. We're ready to talk about it. Before we get into Easter eggs, because there weren't a ton, but there were a couple kind of big ones that are worth talking about. And there's a few connections to, I think, future episodes that we need to talk about that are Easter egg related. But we'll start with you, KenJac. Thoughts on this episode, which is a much different episode than I think the previous three, especially the last one.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I particularly loved this episode too much. And I think the main reason why is because as I was watching it, I was realizing more and more that it reminded me almost like as a clone copy of an episode of Clone Wars. And I don't know if you guys remember this one, the one where they're on Felucia and they're attacked by the pirate. I forget his name offhand. And they have to basically train Felucians to guard themselves against pirate raiders. And it was almost like shot for shot, a lot of the same exact thing. Like they're training with the sticks and everything. And I was like, this is way too overfamiliar for me, and I feel like I've seen a lot of this before. But then again, like Clone Wars, it's not exactly like that's been seen by everybody. This is a much bigger production than Clone Wars ever was, so that's still fine. But for me, as someone who's absorbed a lot of Star Wars properties, I was a little bummed out. Action was still great though.
Fair. Robbie, what do you think?
I actually thought of the exact same Clone Wars episode while I was watching this, but almost had the complete opposite effect on me where I was like, finally, like, I love that they're taking some things from the cartoons and now adapting them to live action. It reminded me of like taking a storyline from the comics and putting it in a movie or something. So I liked it a lot. I thought Baby Yo really ramped up his cuteness in this episode, even though we'll get to it at the end. I hated the kids making him feel a little embarrassed, a little self-conscious about the way he's eating that frog. I was like, oh my God, is Baby Yo being bullied? Because I swear to God, I'll start an anti-bullying program in the galaxy right now. But yeah, I'm glad he's got friends. He's being a kid. He seems like he's having fun. I think my prediction that we'll talk about later is going to come true, where Mando will be taking his helmet off for some pussy. So everything
That's
about
true.
it, I really enjoyed. Like KenJac said, the action was cool. It reminded me of the exact same Clone Wars episode it reminded him of, but it didn't really bother me that much.
You did say that a lady friend would be the reason why he takes it off. He almost did, but he turned it down. The strength to keep it on. We'll get to the helmet.
Also, I didn't even mention Cara Dune. It's been a while. You know, we've waited 4 episodes to meet this character. Big hit in my book. Loved Cara Dune.
Oh yeah.
Great element.
All those fighting sequences are great. It reminded me almost of, remember when she shows up in Deadpool and starts doing all those wrestling moves and UFC moves on everybody, and she was doing those versus all the Raiders? So sick.
It was very cool for her to incorporate, and it usually happens when you cast an MMA or combat sports athlete in a movie, for them to actually incorporate that into their role and then them to incorporate that into their action scenes, and she definitely did that here.
She has a personality. We'll touch more on her character, but she has a different personality than Mando, which she's going to be back. I know the end of the episode, she's gone. He leaves. We know she's back because there's a toy, and they marketed it pretty heavily. That's kind of always the dead giveaway with Star Wars. But she has a different tone about her character. I think is going to balance out well with Mando, because I know one complaint that people had. They're like, we like him, but he's still kind of faceless, right? You know, we don't see the personality that we may see from other characters. So I think that balances out well. I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite so far, but I really enjoyed it. And I think it kind of signals like the next phase of this show too, right? Because the first phase was getting Baby Yoda, figuring out paying off the bounty, all that. And then they kind of hit a big climax. And now I feel like we have this next arc of what we're going to go through. But it felt like another serial offshoot standalone type story. You know, the natives learn how to fight, something that's on their planet. You're right. It's very much like the Clone Wars episode. Enjoyable. I'm not sure many people are going to say it's their favorite, but I still liked it. It fits well. That's the thing. As long as we don't get an episode, and we just did our Watchmen review last week on the Will Reeves episode. And if you don't watch Watchmen, just to sum it up quick, that Watchmen episode felt like the typical, I think, Robbie, you mentioned it, like standalone episode in a series. But unlike a lot of those standalone episodes, it didn't really detract from the entire thing. And I feel like as long as we don't get a story episode like that with Mandalorian, I don't really care what they do. I think we're going to enjoy it. So that's the That's kind of the immediate feel from watching that chapter 4. Let's talk about Easter eggs, though. A new species, not a new species, but a new species for this series, and that is Clatoonians, and they kind of look like dogs.
They do. I was going to say that.
Which I don't know if they've been altered a little bit. I think there's some different ones. We first saw them, I believe, at Jabba's palace and the sail barge in Return of the Jedi. So they were on some of the skiffs, the ships that Luke was just fucking killing everyone left and right.
I could be wrong on this. I'm pretty sure that Billy D. Williams' son plays one of them on that sail barge.
That's kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah.
It's funny when I was reading the Wikipedia for those of you who aren't familiar out there. I was reading it on it, and it's just like their species often works as henchmen or bounty hunters. Like that sucks. Like the only two jobs you can have as a Clatoonian is a henchman or a bounty hunter. So you're getting killed by a main character or killed by a main character.
I saw it might have been. I was reading some other recaps, just kind of seeing what people were saying about the episode. I think it might have been sci-fi. I want to credit it might have been sci-fi. I apologize if I'm wrong. Someone compared them to moonshiners. They were like making their own moonshine, basically,
Skuchka or whatever.
Yeah. Here's a big one. This is very much possibly me reaching, so keep that in mind. When they're on the ship in the beginning of the episode, Mando makes a joke, and he calls Baby Yoda a little womp rat, okay? Womp rat's very famous in Star Wars. One of the first things really uttered in Star Wars. It's one of the first species ever mentioned, because Luke, talks about what's the exact quote?
He's like, I'm shooting womp rats with the T-50 down at the boys or whatever.
Yeah.
That's impossible, even for a computer.
It's not impossible. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
That's a bad look on all of us not remembering the exact quote. Regardless,
whatever it is, it's the fucking Death Star hole. It's the size of a womp rat. Come on.
Womp rats are native to Tatooine. So, look, I'm Mandalorian, probably visited Tatooine in his day, but I have a theory now. This is my theory that I think Mando, what's his name again?
The Mandalorian?
Din Djarin.
Din Djarin. There you go. We'll call him that just for the sake of this one. I think he's from Tatooine. I think when he's a foundling and when he's found, because he is brought in, and he mentioned in this episode, he's brought in by the Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. Like they raise him when we see this flashback, when we see this attack, and we see when he is as a child, he's taken from his family and they're attacked by droids. He's then taken in by Mandalorians after. We don't know who saves him, but I think he as a kid is on Tatooine. So I think he is being saved on Tatooine. I think the flashbacks we're seeing are on Tatooine because, again, womp rats are native to Tatooine. He makes a womp rat reference. Again, this might be a stretch and might be reaching. There's been some speculation that potentially flashbacks, we may see Obi-Wan at some point. There's no confirmation on that. So that's not a spoiler. That's just people have mentioned that there's a potential possibility, because that is one of the next series, that we might see a tie-in. So, I don't know.
I didn't realize that. You just put chills on my arm when you said that.
Because it lines up. It does line up where Obi-Wan would be alive.
And if Obi-Wan were alive and... Oh my goodness! Wait, would he be alive? Yeah, no, he would be. He definitely would be.
When
it would
Mando
happen around like that Clone Wars time,
when Mando was a child. Mm-hmm. We don't know the exact time, because I also mentioned last week, I did say the Siege of Mandalore and the Purge, not the same thing.
Yeah,
the Great Purge of the Mandalorian. I want to note that I was wrong. They're kind of around the same time period based on what we're hearing, but they're not the same thing. So because we see battle droids, we know that's right around when Obi-Wan was alive. So I don't know. I don't know.
If we see that clip of the battle droid, the super battle droid, like about to shoot the little kid Mandalorian, and he eats like a lightsaber through the chest,
yep,
and Obi-Wan's wearing that Clone Wars armor, oh my God, heads will explode.
So is there anything in Star Wars canon that says that the Separatists ever invaded Tatooine? Because I don't think Tatooine was ever a Republic planet either. Because I think they were like Outer Rim, right? So I don't think they're ever part of the actual Galactic Alliance. So.
And let me say, I looked this up. I risked spoilers, because if it was a spoiler, I was not going to mention it. And I've seen people speculate, and they say that, there's a potential chance that he could be in this show. Like, it lines up. And I think it's more people speculating, like, because there's another series, because he's back, it might make sense to tie his story in a little bit now for what we're going to see later, especially because, like, Deborah Chow's going to be directing a series. She directed the last episode. I don't know. That's 100%. Like, I might just throw the big speculation across the screen right now. I don't know. But that's I need a theory. I need a theory.
Awesome, man.
And like the Womp thing clicked in my head, and I'm like looking it up. I'm like, come on, please say native to Tatooine, and they are. They're native to Tatooine. So.
I love that theory. I think yes, maybe you're reaching a bit, but that's kind of like that's what we're doing here. We're having fun with it.
The promotional material shows him on Tatooine, right? Like the logo and
I thought so. Yeah,
that's what people believe. So maybe that's because he frequents there. We know that a lot of people frequent Tatooine. People who don't
even imagine Obi-Wan. There's that one episode of the Clone Wars where he goes out and goes like undercover as a Mandalorian. He's got that like maroon armor. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
If they had him wearing, they have Ewan McGregor wearing that,
and he's very close with the Mandalorians. He's very close. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean,
if they have him wearing
too.
that the outfit that he wears in the Clone Wars animated series, if they show him with those like wrist guards and everything, I will freak the fuck out. That was so damn cool. I wonder if it's one of those towns that they always mention that's on a Tatooine that you never get to see, like Anchorhead or like one of those other ones like that. It'd be kind of cool. Toshi Station.
Yes.
One of those ones. That'd be kind of interesting.
I think it's a deleted scene from New Hope with Biggs, Itachi. Yeah,
where they see the Star Destroyer flying above. I want to join the Imperial Academy.
So I don't know. That's speculation. We'll see. We'll leave it at that. I'm sure much more to come. Loth Cats. That's another one. Now, Loth Cats, if you've never seen the show Star Wars Rebels, you won't know what that is, but Yoda interacts with this small like cat, or if you don't know it's a Loth Cat, you may think like dog or cat. We'll show it on the screen. But first time we've seen it in live action. That was very cool if you watch Star Wars Rebels. You had to figure we were going to see it at some point because apparently Loth Cat is also very much a toy, and toys drive so much Star Wars in Galaxy's Edge at the Disney parks. So you're going to have to figure this was going to happen. But it looked good. It was cool to see. It was a nice little quick thing. Again,
scare Baby Yo. What the fuck?
I know. I was going to say, it did scare me when I was like, this thing could definitely swallow this baby in one bite. Mando, pay a little better attention to your baby.
Yep. There's some food. We see food in this episode. And one of my like real quests as a Star Wars fan is that they don't eat. People get like food or like fat or diet shamed in this universe because no one ever eats.
Except for the egg roll. That's that fucking Luke eats on Dagobah.
Yeah. His taquito or egg roll. We haven't decided what it is yet. Rey has that thing, but like they're actually at a place ordering. There's like a waitress. There's a waitress in this. We've only seen one waitress ever.
Yeah, the one in Dexter Chester's Diner.
Dexter's Diner and Attack the Clones. There's already a better waitress.
What do you want, hon?
You want a cup of Jawa juice?
Why are you a 50s waitress? What doesn't make sense.
It's one of the most Dexter's Diner is one of those fucking slap in the face things of all time. Which did we mention on the last? No, we didn't. There's that Star Wars like remix or whatever it's called. I forget the name. It was supposed to be this animated series from the guys. Robot Chicken. I forget what it's called. Star Wars.
I think it was called Detours. Star Wars
Detours. Yeah.
And actually, a lot of the series was set in Dex's Diner, so I'm glad it's a good reason to have avoided that.
Jeez, I forgot that was going to be a thing. Weird.
Yeah. It's a bizarre show. We see krill, which look like little prawns, little shrimp. For the natives on this planet, and the planet's name is Sargon. We'll get more on the planet in a little bit because someone had a theory that I kind of liked. So Sargon or Sargon, I don't know how they exactly set it, but you have these little krill, which apparently Naboo has them as well. It's a food from Naboo. Small prequel Easter egg. They're ordering drinks. They're actually like drinking things. So that was cool to see. We've seen ATST. We heard it in the beginning. And I was like, all right, I feel like we're probably going to see. I couldn't tell it was a walker, like an AT, an AT-AT, an AT-AT, or an ATST. That was neat to see. KenJac, you mentioned before we got on, though, you think that maybe like some tech upgrades or something, because it didn't look exactly like the Imperial Walker we're used. It had like the red windows.
Awesome.
It did have the red windows, which is very reminiscent, obviously, of First Order walkers, which we see in like the sequel trilogy. But I mean, obviously, that's not around yet. We're not timeline-wise. That doesn't line up.
They did mention. Notice she mentioned they're like, how did they get this?
They have no idea how they got it, and the tech does look very upgraded. Although I don't know why the First Order would be like supplanting Raiders, like trying to do some CIA shit, trying to like give them Iran Contra for some Raiders, and we don't know. But it did look very cool, and the tech did look upgraded. Like it looked like some shit was added to the sides of it and all that.
Yeah, definitely. It was neat to see. We haven't seen those in, I feel like I can't remember the last movie we saw.
A long time. And it's also cool that 2 episodes in a row now, I feel like they were able to take something that was pretty standard in whatever movie it came from and make it really menacing. Last episode with the super battle droid, this episode with the ATST. Like that thing was terrifying. It felt like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park or something.
It reminded me of like when you're watching Empire Strikes Back or anything, you just that noise imprints in your brain, like of the walking, and like that to you, it's like, damn, that's scary. So like when it's in the woods and it's walking out and you can't see it, but you
only get the glimpses of like the red glowing eyes. Like that was so cool.
And
that between that and Battlefront too, when you hear that thing coming in battle and you're like, Jesus Christ, I really got to get out of here, man.
Yep, exactly.
This whole episode had a very Return of the Jedi vibe to it, like very Ewoks vibe, which is ironic because we did find out on Thanksgiving that Ewoks seem to be back for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
Our guy Warwick.
Warwick Davis, who played, how old was he when he played Wicket the Ewok?
11.
11, and it looks like he's back playing again 30 years later. It's kind of insane.
Amazing.
Me and Robbie, quote unquote, met him at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, you're going to have to put that clip in because we just yelled at him.
Oh my God, that's Warwick Davis.
Should we go?
Sorry.
Should we chase him down?
I mean, it feels weird to chase him down, but I mean, it's Wicket the Ewok. I'm just going to yell to him, I think. Warwick, I love you!
Warwick, you're the best! Love you!
He turned around, he gave us a little wave. We almost made him crash his Segway, but we didn't.
Yeah, send it. I'll throw it in.
I'll send it.
Cara Dune, Gina Carano, we mentioned she's in the show. We get a little backstory on her. She left a rebellion due to politics, which is interesting because that's also kind of what happened with Leia.
Yep.
Leia left the the Republic, I guess. The Republic, rebellion.
Yeah.
The New Republic rebellion turned into that. Left the New Republic because the New Republic, for two reasons. One, they didn't really totally believe her on the First Order. So she needed to go. That's why she started the resistance and had all that happen because they didn't totally believe that the First Order was a thing. Some did, some didn't, and they didn't find it to be that big of a threat. And also, she was outed as being the daughter of Darth Vader,
which is tough.
That's all in books and stuff, and you can really dive deep on that shit. But there is a connection in canon with Star Wars that there's a reason why she left. So this seems to be those same kind of politics, right? Because it seems like Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, is still very skeptical of things and didn't like the politics, and it wasn't exactly what she, I think, said signed up for. And she was two things. She defected because she was an Imperial shock trooper. She mentioned she was a shock trooper. Imperial shock troopers are like top of the line, fucking intense ass stormtroopers. Always have like big ass guns. Look them up. You can see some crazy looking different stormtroopers. So she's a badass. Kind of like almost like a Navy SEAL type thing with like stormtroopers. She wasn't like the dark troopers we saw in Rogue One, but shock troopers they meant business. And then she also kind of had the same thing with the Rebels. She was a drop trooper, drop soldier, excuse me, and she would drop in on Imperial warlords and just make quick work. So very Navy SEAL like. So she has a very gritty backstory and is kind of a badass. And much like Mando, and you can see because they went toe to toe on taking each other down back and forth. She's going to be a pretty active character in terms of action stuff. But I liked her introduction. I like that we didn't get too much backstory, but we got enough to understand her character and not just her walking in and just beating the shit out of people. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. Like she just must be some sort of soldier or something. We understand like we kind of got a long backstory in a few words. So that was neat to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a little bit of that, and it's just cool to see like when the bounty hunters gain that mutual respect for each other after having like a whole balls out fight, and you get a little taste of like that what do you call it, MMA action when they do little fights. She's doing all like those Robbie, you know better than me, but she's doing all those grapple moves on him, like throwing him on the ground. She floors him with a punch at one point, which is fucking awesome. And then it's like you said, we always hate when they do a little ham fisting with the origin stories. And it was very, very short, but also like detailed, like a little explanation. I was this, and this. This is why I'm here. I'm laying low. You got to leave. This planet's only big enough for the one of us.
Yeah, and it wasn't unnatural either. It made sense for their first introduction, for him to learn all of that about her. And I enjoyed the universe building of it. I know people have this issue with the story continuing past Return of the Jedi. It's like a new thing in Star Wars fandom where people are like, everything after Return of the Jedi is ruining Vader's sacrifice. I can't believe that they're making more content. If we're accepting that this universe continued after Return of the Jedi, I love the backstory that the rebellion kind of dove into. Hey, everything's fine. Trust me. We won the war. Everything's going to be great forever. The force is, balanced once again. We're fine. There's no more threats. And everyone else is like, wait a minute. There still is some warlords out here. There's still the First Order building over here. Like Leia was trying to alert them to that, and that it didn't happen. And that's why people were defecting. And that's why we eventually got in a sequel trilogy, a very similar story to the original trilogy, where we have once again scrappy underdogs facing a giant empire. So I dug that, like you said, it was one sentence, but it really did a lot of universe building. And obviously that fight they get into where they have the gun face off and they look over and Baby Yoda's just staring at him. And they're like, all right, you want to grab a drink? Let's not shoot each other in front of a baby.
Soup.
Yeah.
We got a soup brewing. But what do you call it? I just think it's really cool how they kind of show the political fallout of like the empire going away, because that is like,
yes, like that's what we've wanted to see for so long.
Exactly. And that's a very real thing that actually happens like in the real world. Like anytime a big empire, at least in human history, has fallen, like the Mongol Empire, Alexander's empire, anytime that happens, there's a tremendous amount of fallout because that bureaucratic element is now gone. Every person that you reported to, every government you reported to is now gone. And that is a humongous amount of fallout in like a little bit of land on Earth. Imagine if this bureaucracy was running like hundreds of planets. Like that is the universe that this is set in right now. And like it's really cool, I think, to kind of see how that fallout is kind of dealt with by different planets and different peoples.
I think in a few words, Filoni and Favreau have made the time between Jedi and The Force Awakens one of the most intriguing times in the Star Wars canon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very much. And I hope that's kind of what we explore with, at some point, some sort of Clone Wars type thing as well. There's a lot of things that we've heard about that we haven't seen. And a lot of the things we haven't heard about involve cool action.
They all sound awesome. Show it to us.
Conflicts. That's the thing. It's not like we haven't had a movie on the 5-year down period where no one had weapons. Like it's always very cool shit that we never see. That's like,
well, in fairness, that is sort of what the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is, right? Obi-Wan is like, I'm going into hiding and I'm going to not alert anybody that I'm here. We're definitely going to get him, slicing some arms off in some parts.
I still say we get a big time Clone Troopers show. I want to see just like a straight out action show, which we've got before. We've had like a Clone Wars animated stuff. So
501st, just that's the name of the show. I would love to watch that.
That'd be
I'd
awesome.
love the shit out of that.
2 quick cameos, more comedians, more comedic actors. You may recognize one of them. Eugene Cordero played one of the natives. He's in The Office, Silicon Valley, The Good Place.
Pillboy.
Yeah, in The Good Place. Just in very small offshoot things. He made a quick cameo, as well as another comedian, Asif Ali. So apparently, if you're a comedian, you're not a Mandalorian. I don't know what you're doing.
I know. Bill Burr has his big cameo coming up. He said episode 6. He will be in. He said that on his podcast, so look out for that.
Okay.
We got, one next week to go, but after that we got old Billy Bounty Hunter.
So I didn't know that Billy
Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So okay, I'll save my thought on that of where they go next for the end of this episode, because that'll clue me in on where I think they're going to be now. Let's get into the episode. We can just kind of run down things, anything that pointed out, because I feel like we already covered a good chunk of it. Directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. So 2 things there. Second female to direct a Star Wars property after Deborah Chow did the last episode or the episode before that?
Last episode,
right. Yep. I feel like it's been like 2 weeks in between episodes.
I know.
It's so long. But also, fun fact, now the first 2 people from the same family to direct an episode or anything Star Wars, because Ron Howard directed the reshoots and a lot of basically the whole thing of Solo, a Star Wars story. So that's pretty cool. Father-daughter there. We mentioned new planet. Sargon is what they're on. Kind of like a very green planet. We don't see many green planets in Star Wars. A very green, watery planet. We see the beginning episode, the villagers are kind of raided by these pirates. I thought it was a flashback. I actually thought that was going to be Gina Carano's character.
Me too. I thought the same thing.
So I was kind of thrown off for a second, but no, it was very much present day of where this is set. These pirates, these raiders, they come and get them. We see Mando arrives on that planet in his ship, goes to a bar. Like I said, he eats, he drinks, or at least Baby Yoda eats and drinks. And as they're landing, we see Baby Yoda pretty self-aware. He's fucking with the buttons in the ship. He's being a little bit of a pest.
Like, I'm not going to touch it. Adorable. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
It was almost the Baby Groot with the don't press this button,
Yeah.
We're all going to die.
Drinks some bone broth and some spatchka. He's just drinking just the broth a little bit. But I think included, he's a little self-aware. I think he's more
50. I mean, Yoda was a Jedi Master when he was 100, right? So he's gotta understand some stuff. Even it seemed like the Mandalorian, when he was talking to him, was like, "Don't touch anything. Understand." Like it seemed like he was talking to him as more than like just a random baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He and he walks now. We saw him walk. Great walk.
Mm-hmm.
Great walk. It's a little
takes him a
waddle. Yeah.
Yep. Takes him a while. He's very slow. The legs are so tiny. But yeah, it looks like Baby Yoda is a little more aware of things than I think we thought initially. Again, heads to a bar. He has a run-in with Cara Dune, and she does note something. She notes that she attacked him because she thought he was going after her. So 2 questions for you guys. I'll start with you, Robbie. Has to be more to her story, because are bounty hunters really going after rebels? Maybe Imperials are having bounty hunters go after rebels, or is there something else with her, you think, rather than her just being a defected rebel? I don't know. It's tough, because does that really like hold, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even really think about that. When she said it, I was just like, yeah, I guess it would make sense that you never know if a bounty hunter has a bounty on you, especially if you've been to both sides. She defected from the Imperial Army. She was with the rebels later. But to your point, I don't know what kind of rebels what kind of Imperial warlords or officers at this point have the money, have the best guard to pay for a bounty on like every rebel soldier that still exists in the world. So I don't know. I think there is more to her story, but I don't think it'll be more to her story in the way where it's like, oh, we didn't realize it, but she's actually like a bad guy all along or something. I could be wrong on that. Star Wars is known for classic betrayals, but I think Cara Dune is going to be on the right side of history.
Yeah, me too. I think that she probably, because like we do know some of the warlords here do have that sort of power. Like the client is some sort of Imperial warlord, Werner Herzog, and he has the money to deal with that. I don't know what her place is going to be, but I am very intrigued to find out.
They then kind of part their separate ways. She's like, this planet, they basically say this planet's not big enough for the 2 of us. And he goes and he's about to leave the planet. He's approached by the villagers. They're like, yo, you got to fucking help us. We got these raiders. They're taking all of our shit. They're basically they're bullying us. Basically, they're taking everything. And he claims, or there's 2 of them. They claim like, we'll pay you all this stuff. And so he's like, fine. He decides to go with them because they are in the middle of nowhere and he needs a place to hunker down and be alone for a while. He goes and he also grabs Cara Dune. He says, come with me. Come on, we're going to go. So they all venture on out to the village. Trip. Yeah, a little road trip. They do some reconnaissance and they find that they have an AT-ST, or no, they see the footprint of an AT-ST. So they see it before they actually see the AT-ST, and then they're like, yo, you didn't tell us this. We're kind of fucked now. You guys got to learn how to fight. And so they do a classic train the natives, right? Which we've seen in plenty of movies.
Great montage.
Yeah, it was
train a hungry man to fish.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
And what is Omera is the character's name. She seems to be the kind of like the big motherly figure of the natives. She takes a liking to Mando. Mando's kind of got the hots for her, you can tell.
Mm-hmm. There was sexual tension.
Oh, yeah.
I think the first thing she said to him, she walked into that room, she's like, you take that thing off when you fuck or what?
Play some Marvin Gaye.
It's crazy.
On, take off the helmet. Take it off.
And he did take it off, by the way. He did take it off to eat.
He did.
Finally, we understand that. He eats.
They put it down right there next to the camera. It was a great shot.
Also, a little bit weird that he took it off. It was an open window.
Yeah, it was an open window.
They made such a big deal, and nobody ever seen this guy's face. And then he was so flip. I guess everyone is focused on Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's out there.
We'll get into the helmet thing and audience questions. But yeah, I was like, what the fuck? You make a big deal about it. You just take it off in an open window.
Yeah, I'm glad we did get like when she's like, when's the last time you took that thing off? And he was like, yesterday. Like, I'm glad it wasn't. I feel like some people have been building up this mystique in their minds where they're like, he's never taken it off in his entire life. He's never even shampooed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man.
Does he eat, right? He just hasn't eaten in like 30
probably
years.
Sleeps without it. Like, come on.
Yeah,
it's a feeding tube right into his body.
So he trains everyone. Mando goes with Cara Dune, and they pull the raiders kind of out of their area. They're trying to draw them in as a trap and have the AT-ST fall into like this little waterbed that we see from the beginning of the episode. And the battle ensues. And eventually Cara Dune takes, what's his gun called? I keep forgetting.
The disintegrator, but pulse rifle, yeah.
Yeah, and so she takes it and goes and kind of falls underneath the AT-ST and gets it to step forward and fall into the water. It does the classic Return of the Jedi thing, the AT-ST, where when it falls, it blows up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's always great. It just
he throws a grenade at it.
Something on it. Yeah, he threw a grenade on it.
Oh, he threw a grenade in the window.
But one of those red blinking things.
No, he threw it in after, but when it fell, it did kind of like it did burst a little bit. Yeah, which they did in Return of the Jedi. So,
and I love that it was also the like sticks and stones way of defeating the machine.
They had guns, they had weapons. Omera, the motherly figure there, who has a daughter. Sure. She can use a gun pretty well. So I don't know if there has to be more to that.
That turned Mando on, because he said guns are part of their religion. You see a lady shooting around a laser like that.
Yeah, you know she'll be back at some point because they didn't explain it, and I don't feel like that was just a throwaway line. Like, oh, she can use weapons, even though these people, like, the most advanced thing they have is a basket for fishing.
There was
like,
one moment where there was like a random villager. It wasn't her shooting a gun, and it was the most uninterested. I don't know what I'm doing.
What
I
is
laughed
happening?
out loud when I saw it.
Mando and Cara Dune saved the day. There is a time jump. So note this: there is a time jump because Cara Dune's character does turn to Mando and say, or the other way around. Mandalorian says to Cara Dune, like, it's been a few weeks. Word travels fast.
Mm-hmm.
So time had lapsed from the end of that battle to the end of the episode. They'd been there a while.
She pulls one of the craziest moves I've ever seen in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, she tries to take his helmet off.
I mean, what is that? She, in front of everybody, she just grabs it and starts it's the human equivalent of seeing someone and like just unzipping their fly.
Yeah.
And like, all right, I'll do this. Like, no, not here. What are you, nuts?
It's like part of his religion too. It's like walking up to like a priest and like trying to take off his habit or whatever.
Exactly,
It's like what?
I wish it was rated R. He should have been like, "You fucking serious?"
Yeah,
yeah. Like
what?
We were cool until just now. This might be a deal breaker.
I was thinking about maybe taking it off when I come back and visit, but now the fuck.
What a red flag!
Just told you I don't take it off. We could never put it back on.
So they're talking, and Mando tells Cara Dune, "I'm leaving the child here. Like I cannot take Baby Yo on my adventures. I'm going to get this kid killed. Not a life for him. All he has is the little ball on top of the lever in my ship. Like, there's nothing fun there. He loves these kids. He's having a blast. These kids love him." And as they're about to depart, and right after Omer should take off his helmet, we see there's a bounty hunter with a fob tracking Baby Yoda. We think initially maybe he's going to shoot Mando. Then he goes to take a shot at Baby Yoda, and then Cara Dune last second takes her out. Second time we've been faked out that Baby Yoda's been killed in this series.
They need to stop doing this. Yeah. My heart can't take it anymore, and especially like the morbidness of seeing crosshairs over Baby Yoda's forehead while he's like having fun playing with kids. Holy shit, man! Come on,
really bad. You can't have Baby Yoda 360 no scoped in the end of
I mean,
episode.
that's Werner Herzog's explanation when he says it's heartbreakingly beautiful.
Yeah.
That was heartbreakingly beautiful.
So the attack is thwarted, and then they leave. Cara Dune and Mando split up. For now, they'll be back. Yeah. We mentioned that already. We all kind of have our theories.
They even say it till our paths cross again. Right?
Yeah. And they give kind of like the arm handshake.
Oh, it was a cool handshake.
Yeah.
It was a cool handshake.
That's a classic, like cool
it's
people
like
that fuck people up. Yeah.
Yeah. We kill people very easily.
Definitely.
So that's the episode. Anything else in the episode? I think it was pretty straightforward, cut and dry, minus the hidden stuff, which we mentioned in Easter eggs. Let's go with audience questions quick. We only have a couple. Chris 45412 said, "Why do you think it's a crime? Or not as much a crime. Why do you think it's so bad for Mando to remove his helmet?" Because it's worth noting that Dave Filoni worked on Clone Wars, Rebels. The Mandalorians in those shows, they took off their helmets
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Obviously Mandalorian clans are a little different, right? Like,
and that was Death Watch too. So it wasn't like, I don't know if that's like the original clan religion or whatever.
But also, did something happen in the Purge? I don't know. Yeah. Like, do they have a different mindset now? Did something happen after that where we're like, no, like we stick to our code. Like, this is what we do. This is the way.
Yeah, and they have to keep their identities hidden, which they say all the time. We need to stay underground. We can't have people IDing us or they'll wipe us, the rest of us out. So maybe that's part of like the new religion is we have to keep our faces hidden. Sort of like in Watchmen, which we talk about all the time. It's to protect their identity and make sure that like no one can kind of ID them and kill them.
Oh, he did say he hadn't taken it off since he was a kid. I don't know.
Well, he was also foundling, right? So I guess.
Do we know what the timeline of the Purge is as opposed to the Siege of Mandalore? How far apart did those happen?
I don't know the timelines on that. And I don't know if the foundling being found is the Purge either. Because the Purge was an attack on the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And when he's found as a kid in the flashbacks, he's not a Mandalorian yet.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know. The timelines work, which is good because you know what? I will say this. We mentioned, like, I was able to connect Womp Rats to maybe why Obi-Wan might be in the show and, like, Leia leaving. Like, typically you can like, pull pieces. I don't know, and I like that. It's still new.
True.
A lot of this is, like, connected to stuff we know, but this is kind of new, and we still have to figure some things out. So I like that. At Mac Attack 516 said, "Is that the planet Lothal from Rebels?" It's not. So the planet they were on is not Lothal. Lothal, right?
I think.
Yeah, Lothal.
Yeah, I think it was Lothal.
Like Lothcat. Yeah, regardless. Star Wars pronunciation is always off. But no, it is not Lothal. Lothal has 2 moons in Rebels. This planet had 2 moons as well and was green. I did see someone reply to him, be like, no, this one's a little more swampy. So I think it might be in the same system because we see the Loth Cat in the bar. So that kind of potentially cool Easter egg. Maybe that planet's going to be there. Maybe some of the Rebels characters are going to be in this series. We don't know. A lot of people think Sabine Wren, who is a Mandalorian in Rebels, might show up in here. It would be very cool. There you go. Old Yoda, though. Not baby.
Yeah,
Must know.
old, yeah.
He eats taquitos.
There's the classic story behind this old Yoda. I saved him from Hurricane Sandy. I got hit with Hurricane Sandy years ago. My basement flooded, 6 feet, 3 inches of water. There's a classic image. I threw Baby Yoda on my back, or regular Yoda. And I was like, bro, you're coming up with me. My sister thought I was ridiculous. She's like, we're not going to get water in the basement. Guess what? 6 feet, all my sister's shit destroyed. Yoda, he's still here.
Yoda's fine.
Still kicking.
Yeah. Lastly, speaking of Yoda, at MWML with the roll. I don't know.
Sure.
Sorry, I just butchered that.
Is that a Star Wars name?
I don't know. Was Yoda a third grader when he became a Jedi Master at age 100? Because he noted that, look, Baby Yo is kind of like a toddler, kindergartner. At 50, Yoda became a Jedi Master. At 100, was Yoda in third grade? Was he just flexing his third grade friends like
Doogie Howser?
Like, yeah, what's up? I'm a Jedi Master. What do you show and tell? I don't give a shit about this. I got a lightsaber.
Here's my answer. Definitely. I love that idea. I love the idea that like he was a little teenage Yoda kicking around and he's a Jedi Master.
Imagine like 50-year-old Ki-Mundi is just like struggling so hard to get his master rank, and like third grade Yoda comes by and he's like, yeah, look, I can lift an entire mountain with the Force.
Yeah, I mean, if he could lift a mudhorn when he's like a baby, I get that it put him out for 24 hours, but yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's like the freshman who plays on the varsity team. It's like, yeah, this kid's so good. We hate him though.
That's its own like 80s movie. That's like, it's literally the plot to like Big, where like Tom Hanks is just like immediately becomes like senior VP of the toy company. Meanwhile, the other guy's like struggling so hard.
Looking at chapter 5, what do we think? I've teased it a couple times. I'll get to it. Was that Yoda talking?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what do you say?
I didn't realize he talks. I thought for sure the batteries would still be dead. Let's see.
Meditating I have been. At one with the Force am I.
Hell
He's
yeah.
been meditating. He's one with the Force.
Really? He had to meditate to know that? Far-fetched.
Yeah.
Chapter 5, I think they're going to be in space for a while. That's not like I told you, it wasn't a crazy theory, but he's basically saying that they mentioned they're after Baby Yoda. They know he's here. Yep. They know where he is. They're going to go to this planet. They're going to keep looking for him. You got to go to space. You got to be on the run. I think they're going to be on the run for a while. I think that's why he's going to run into Cara Dune. Maybe some sort of outpost. We're going to find Bill Burr. We know that like a lot of Bill Burr scenes are in ships. So I think we're going to see some more expansive ship sets. I think we're going to see some things in space.
That's a really good analysis, Jeff.
And that's what I want too. Like I like the planets, but all right, let's get a little space now.
Yeah,
right?
like a different environment. Even like the one of my favorite Battlefront maps from back in the day is the Tantive.
Yeah.
Like getting on that, like that whole entire environment. It has so many different spaces, so many different rooms. If you could just create that environment for an episode, it'll be awesome. You also get the classic like Rogue One red Vader glow lights that constantly happen on those ships. That's awesome. I want more of that. So I'm with you.
Maybe it'll be something almost like in Force Awakens when Han and Chewie like capture the Millennium Falcon in that bigger ship. Yeah, it'll be in like an environment like that. Because you're right, in the screen cap where they show you Bill Burr's character, it does look like he's in a ship. I think we're gonna get that. I kind of want to know how these fobs work. Like, do they just track DNA? Because otherwise, is there just like a tracker in like inside Baby Yoda?
I think it's like some sort of DNA or something. It has to be.
Yeah, and it
you're probably right.
Yeah, I want to figure out how those work because people are just tracking Yoda, Baby Yo, all over the planet, or all over the universe rather. I do think we're gonna get some him. I don't think we're gonna get Grand Moff yet, but maybe we'll get like a prelim for him. Because we have how many more episodes left? I want to say 3? No, that's Watchmen. 4. Okay, 4. So I think we have that many left. I think we'll get like this is who I'm working for, or like you're gonna like maybe that's in his death crawl for Bill Burr.
And we kind of see that Giancarlo Esposito, a lot of First Order ties too.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're going to find out. Maybe he's like, who do you work for? And Bill Burr's like, oh, I work for Grand Moff, whatever. It's actually Giancarlo Esposito. And so maybe that's what we'll get out of that next one.
And we really do have the potential for him to become another Thrawn-like figure where it's like if he were somehow involved in the seeds of the First Order, like you could expand on that tremendously. So I'm looking forward to it. 4 episodes in, I tweeted this, but I want to say it on the show as well. We've officially gotten about 2 hours and 28 minutes worth of Mandalorian content, about a movie's worth. I'm confident calling this one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars content ever.
That's very fair.
I think even if, knock on wood, God forbid, if the next 4 episodes go Phantom Menace bad, you can never take these 4 away from
That's true. That's true. Which I don't think they will. I don't think they will
either. I think I would trust.
We got
that
Taika directing some episodes.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
Yep. That's it. I think. Episode 4 to be chapter 4. We'll be back a week from now to do chapter 5, and I think the schedule changes a little bit when the Rise of Skywalker rolls around. Monday, which is the first Monday of December 2nd or 1st, I think, we'll be doing Watchmen episode 7 recap, that's got 3 episodes left. That shit's going to be insane. Cannot wait for Sunday night. No idea what's going to happen. The tease for the last Watchmen, we kind of knew it was going to happen. This one,
good luck.
It's a mess. It's going to be nuts. So that's basically it. Make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and the bell icon so you know when we drop these. And let us know below what you think about Mandalorian Chapter 4 and what some predictions you have for these upcoming episodes where Mando's going to be. For Robbie and KenJac, I'm Jeff Lowe. Thanks again for watching. We will talk to you next time.